Hello everyone, this is Fixed Maintenance College. I'm Anthony. Today we will have course Lesson 3, iPhone X Face ID Principle. When the Face ID need to recall your face data, the front camera start working and let the user to match the camera. The proximity sensor start working and detect the user's face. The ambient light sensor and the full illuminator start working. The full illuminator is for supplementary lighting, and it will emit the infrared ray and auto-adjust the light according to the ambient light intensity. The dot projector start working. It will place more than 30,000 infrared monitoring points on the user's face to construct 3D facial information. The infrared camera collected 3D facial data and send the data to CPU for finish the facial ID information recording. This is Face ID module. The Face ID of iPhone X is made up of some components. Let's see this. This is infrared camera. This is front camera without encrypted. This is dot projector. And this is full illuminator and the proximity sensor. Let's check under microscope. First is front receiver cable. The two holes of this component are proximity sensor, and this is full illuminator. This is ambient light sensor. This is encrypted with CPU. If this component is broken or not matched with CPU, the true time of the phone will be error. This is front microphone. This is front receiver, and this is front receiver cable. This is infrared camera. This is Face ID. This is dot projector. When Face ID is working, the dot projector will place more than 30,000 infrared monitoring points on the user's face. Meanwhile, full illuminator and ambient light sensor start working. The ambient light sensor will detect the light intensity to adjust the full illuminator. For example, when you are in somewhere is bright, the full illuminator will relax. On the contrary, when you are in somewhere is dark, the full illuminator will work more. The dot projector will place more than 30,000 infrared monitoring points on the user's face to construct 3D facial information. And then the infrared camera collects this data and send to CPU. This camera is not encrypted with CPU. The function of it is for people to confirm the position in the screen. The Face ID relevant circuit is proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, full illuminator, dot projector, and infrared camera. The proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, and full illuminator are in same connector. The power line is PP 3.0 and PP ROSALINE ANODE. Signal line is connected with CPU, connected with PMU, and connected with infrared power IC. This is front receiver connector. The relevant components with Face ID are proximity sensor, ambient light sensor, and the full illuminator. According to the schematic, we can know that the pin 3 is 3.0 voltage power of this connector, and pin 15, pin 16, pin 17, and pin 18 are the power lines from infrared camera. The others are CPU connection lines. Six power lines for dot projector. 1. PP 3.3 voltage. 2. PP ROMEO DENSE ANODE. 3. PP ROMEO CATHODE. 4. PP ROMEO SPARSE ANODE. 5. PP ROMEO B ANODE. 6. PP ROMEO A ANODE. Signal lines are 2. 1. Connected with CPU and connected with infrared power IC. This is dot projector connector. 3 power lines for infrared camera. 1. PP 1.1 voltage. 2. PP 2.85 voltage. 3. PP 1.8 voltage. Signal lines are 2. Connected with CPU and connected with infrared power IC. This is infrared camera connector. Measurement and repair of proximity sensor. Number 1. When testing the call, put the phone close to the face to determine the proximity sensor is okay or not. Number 2. If the proximity sensor is not working, check resistance of all pins in the connector first to confirm any wrong with the lines. Number 3. Check the power is okay or not. Number 4. Replace receiver cable. Measurement and repair of ambient light sensor. The ambient light sensor is an encrypted component. Once it is broken, can be replaced. But the iPhone will lose the screen brightness auto adjustment function and the original color display function. Measurement and repair of full illuminator. 1. The full illuminator and the proximity sensor are integrated together. If the full illuminator is error, fix the proximity sensor first. Generally, the proximity sensor is okay. The full illuminator will be okay. 2. If the proximity sensor is okay, the full illuminator is error. Check resistance of all pins in the connector. See any lines is error. 3. Check power lines of the connector is okay or not. 4. Replace the front receiver cable and text. Measurement and repair of dot projector. 1. Check any damage by ice. 2. Check resistance of all pins in the connector. See any line is short or broken. 3. Check the power lines are okay or not. Measurement and repair of infrared camera. 1. Check if the portrait mode and background of the front camera is blurred. 2. Check resistance of all pins in the connector. See any line is short or broken. 3. Check the power lines are okay or not. The common error of Face ID. Number 1. The Face ID is not available when turn the phone on. Number 2. The Face ID is not available when activate the Face ID function. Number 3. The Face ID is error with staying the record and tell you to move up and down. The Face ID is not available when turn on the phone. 1. Confirm the dot projector, full illuminator and infrared camera are original. 2. Check cables of dot projector, full illuminator and infrared camera. 3. Check power and signal of working condition of dot projector, full illuminator and infrared camera. 4. The dot projector, Full illuminator or infrared camera is broken. The Face ID is not available when activate the Face ID function. 1. If shows error after 5 seconds, just root it. 2. If shows error while activating Face ID, check if the dock projector or infrared camera is broken. The Face ID is error will stay in the record and tell you to move up and down. Make a phone call and see the function of proximity sensor OK or not. Check the screen brightness auto adjustment function OK or not. 1. If not, replace the new receiver cable and remove the full illuminator component to the new cable. 2. If yes, check if the portrait mode of the front camera is blurred. Situation A. No. Check any red lines in dock projector. 1. If no, unrepairable. 2. If yes, check the infrared camera. Situation B. Yes. Replace the new receiver cable and remove the full illuminator component to the new cable. 1. If error has been fixed, repair success. 2. If not, adjust the X and Y axis of dock projector and infrared camera to the same level. Now, let's check iPhone X repair cases reference. Case 1. iPhone X with core Face ID always no circuit. Failure phenomenon. According to customer description, when entering information with Face ID, the interface says that the keep face in the viewfinder interface, and no circle window appears when further entering face information. Failure analyze. Before performing file analyze, we need to briefly understand how Face ID works. Full illuminator, when the face is set when covering it, part of the circle with core appears and jumps out of the face has moved out of the viewfinder frame. Sometimes Face ID is unavailable. It is mainly used for face unlock at night when there is insufficient light. Infrared camera. We must keep the face in the viewfinder when it is covered. Front-facing camera. It doesn't affect at all. It can record faces and unlock. It is only used to help users observe the position of the face. It is not responsible for collecting face data. The face data collecting is by infrared camera and dock projector. Dock projector. Masking will prompt iPhone to be moved up or moved down if it was covering. The front camera will repeatedly focus and prompts to keep the face in the viewfinder frame, no circle, and finally prompt Face ID is not available. Try to set Face ID later. Solution. First, measure the resistance of the motherboard J4530, J3500, and J4600 connectors. When measuring the J4600 handset cable connector, find that the resistance value of pin 50, pin 60, pin 70, and pin 19 are 0, which proves that the line is short. According to the schematic, J4600 handset cable connector, pin 15, pin 16, pin 17, and pin 18 is the power supply line PPROSALINEANODE of the full illuminator. This line of power is sent from the K1 pin of the U4400 infrared power manager to J4600. Damage to any component on this line may cause a short circuit in this power supply. The capacitor C4660 was found to be damaged when the circuit was burned. This capacitor is the filter capacitor and can be removed if it is damaged. After the capacitor C4660 is removed, the board power supply and triggered the power on text, and the file is repaired perfectly. Case 2. iPhone X charging LCD cause Face ID unavailable. Failure phenomenon. The iPhone X malfunction was caused by Face ID not being available after screen replacement. Failure analyze. The iPhone X handset cable is very fragile. If you don't pay attention when disassemble it, it may break the cable, making Face ID unusable. Solution: replace the new earphone cable. When replacing the cable, you need to move the Face ID incorporated through illuminator to the new cable. Otherwise, the Face ID will be unavailable. Do not use a hot air gun to remove the through illuminator. It is best to use a heating station for processing. Case 3. iPhone X charging receiver cable caused no hara color. Failure phenomenon. The iPhone X failure is that there is no original color after changing the handset cable. Failure analyze. Before the iOS 12.2 system, the original screen EPON information needs to be read when the screen is changed. And this information is written into a new screen EPON. Otherwise, the phone will lose the original color function after changing the screen. After the iOS 12.2 system, in addition to verifying that the EPON information is consistent with the original machine, the CPU will also verify that the ambient light sensor on the handset cable is consistent with the original machine. Otherwise, the original color function will be lost. Solution: when other people replace that handset cable, they only carried the through illuminator and did not carry the ambient light sensor. According to the schematic, the circuit associated with the pin 10 and pin 12 of J4600 handset connector is I2CO AOP to PROX ALS YOGI lines. The CPU passes the I2C0 groove lines is controlling dot projector, ambient light sensors, and through illuminator. We move the original ambient light sensor to the new cable and test it after installation, and the file is perfectly solved. Okay, this is the course today. More repair cases, please check on our book, iPhone Maintenance Point and Inspire. I am Anthony. Let's meet next time. Bye.